Welcome to another episode of the Gaming Revs Valheim series. In this video we're going to look at some tips for new players, or I suppose as I call them, Revs Rules. First tip. Collect everything. Just because it isn't needed straight away doesn't mean it won't be important later on. When I first started playing, in my first few days, I spent a lot of time eating berries and mushrooms because it's food and that's what I needed. Whereas I would have done better hunting to get meat, using the other items that would have been more useful later on in the game. And I'm going to sort of show you that point now. So we're going to eat honey, a raspberry and a blueberry. Something that you can get hold of fairly easily at the very start of the game. And we're going to see just where that takes my energy. But of course, you're going to need to be able to gather these resources. And so that leads me to Revs rule number 2. Map everything. When I started out, I mapped what I thought was important. Where my bases were, where there were copper deposits, dungeons and so on. I now realise that actually I needed to map an awful lot more than that. I needed to mark down things such as where there were crops of berries. So, going back to the food, at the moment as you can see, I'm on 65 or 66 health. And when you start doing cooking and things like that, you're really going to need large quantities of berries, of dandelions, of thistles even. If we have a look at the menus, go to the Queen's Jam. 8 raspberries, 8 blueberries. The sausages, 4 thistles. In the potions, frost resistance, thistles, and honey. Mead, raspberries, minor healing, blueberries and raspberries and dandelions. These things you walk past every day in the game, but are going to be essential. So what I've done is, now, when I map, as you can see, it looks quite cluttered when you zoom out. But if you zoom in, you'll see I've marked on the map things like RB, raspberries. And there are different things marked out on here that I suddenly realised these are important. The little campfires are mini bases that I've set up as I've gone along. Yes, it looks cluttered, but there's a wealth of information on there. So if you find a big clump of berry bushes, mark it so you know where to go and get the stuff for food later. And I suppose in a way that brings me to my third rule. Build mini bases as you go. So as you explore around the world, you're going to find part abandoned, part damaged buildings all across the place. Now what I would suggest is every time you come across one of these buildings, you go into it, you repair it, you do some building work, possibly not quite as ugly as this one is, and you pop in the essentials. A fireplace, a workbench, and, although there's not one here, it's too close to my own base, a bed. That way you can set a spawn point. So if you do die, and believe me, you will die. I do it frequently sometimes, and certainly in the younger days. You don't suddenly have to travel halfway across the globe just to get back to that gear you lost. In one of my first experiments, was going around the coast on a raft, and I got down to about here and saw this plains biome just down here ahead of me. So I sailed down to the plains biome thinking, this looks great, and then I met the death mosquitoes and died, and my nearest base was all the way back here. I actually gave up on the equipment. So yeah, build mini bases. They're places you can store metals if you're mining. They're places where you can have spare kit left. So if you do die, you've got a bit of armor waiting for you to put back on. All these things can make life just that little bit easier for you. Now my next point, and it relates to the sort of pick up everything one really. I was saying about food and obviously how just eating the berries is quite wasteful because you only get 66, 65 health and a little bit of energy out of it. Well, spend time cooking. That's Revs rule number 4. Cooked food will give you much bigger boosts to health and stamina than just eating berries or mushrooms. Even cooked meat or cooked necktails are better for you. When you can make proper cooked meals or jams, then you'll get massive boosts. But you'll need to spend time cooking them and farming rather than exploring. If I just pop back out again, I've got a couple of fields here. This one will eventually be for boars. I lost the last lot to a troll. And this is a field where I grow turnips, carrots, and at the minute I've got seed turnips in to get ready to plant another batch. You always want to have food growing because the value of it can't be overstated. Now, I've cooked over some Queen's jam, some sausages, and turnip stew. So if you remember, with the berries and the honey, 66. Oh, we're going to go past that already. As I say, it's so vital that you build this stuff up. We'll see how far it goes up. We're already at 83. You can see how much longer the stamina bar is. So as well as upgrading your cooking, you need to upgrade your gear as well. Now, there are two ways you can upgrade it. You can either go to a workbench and choose an item to upgrade. The same, of course, with the forge. You can go and have a look and see what you've got in gear and upgrade it if you can. The other option is to make better quality items. Now, I'm going to have a look at just axes for a moment. 160 health. So 100 more, almost 3 times more health through eating cooked items. So, we're going to look at axes in a minute. Stone axe, the first one you create. Slash of 15, slashing damage of 15. A 1-star flint axe, slashing damage of 20. So straight away, you've got a third more damage that you can do. The bronze axe, slashing damage of 35. So that takes it up by another 15, almost half again how much damage you can do. And the iron axe, minus level 2 admittedly, the iron axe, the base level, does 55 damage. So again, almost doubling each time. But even within the certain levels, you can improve them. So for a stone axe, just by upgrading it with a bit of stone, you can take it from 15 damage, 20, 25, 30. So you can make a stone axe that's almost as powerful as a bronze axe just by upgrading it. The same goes for your armor, for your tools. I can't stress it enough. Make sure you upgrade your gear as much as you can. And that brings me to Revs rule number 6. It's all very well having this gear, but you need to know what to do with it. So train before you head out. In one of my earlier videos, I spoke to you about setting up a training gym. I'm going to head there now. We'll go through the swirly portal of doom. It is partly demolished. I apologise, I'm getting rid of the base. But basically, you set yourself up with a cabin somewhere, decent sized, and you build it around a rock in the floor. Such as this one. And then you equip your weapons, and you batter the heck out of the rock. You do no damage to it, but because you're impacting and causing, even if it's 0 damage, it's technically doing damage. So it increases your skills and it boosts them up. Now, when you look at the equipment you carry, you'll see that there are figures in yellow, and that's the extra damage that you can do because of the skill that you've got. So if we have a look at my skills, a lot of this I actually built up, with the exception of woodcutting, just by doing exercises in here before I went out. I got them all up to about level 15, so I could do a bit more damage, a bit more chaos caused. If you train a bit more, you can do more with exactly the same resources you've got when you start. And that leads me to my final tip of today's video, number 7. Know your limits. Back in the bad old days, as I said, I went exploring on my raft. I found the plains biome. I'd seen it in the videos, I thought it looked cool, so I went to have a look, and as I said, I died within 2 minutes. Never went back to get my gear, because I knew I couldn't manage it. Set realistic limits to your explorations. As a rough rule of thumb, if you're wearing rags or leather, don't go further than the meadow or black forest. If you're wearing bronze or troll skin, don't go further than the swamps. Iron armour, don't go further really than the mountains. And once you've got wolf armour or padded armour, then you're good to go to the plains and start experimenting there. If there's anything else you think we should cover as a tip or trick or something you think that would be useful, please leave a message in the comments. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and leave me comments below on what you think we should cover in future videos. Take care and see you in the next episode.